The parties have agreed to joint managing conservatorship. They've agreed to 50-50 possession of the children, possession access. They've agreed that the child will be that mom will maintain governmental health plan and dad will pay $94 as cash medical towards that plan starting December 1, 2024.
Oh, 94?
December 1, 2024.
94 was the amount?
Yes, ma'am, $94. State calls Miss Sierra Jackson. Miss Jackson, did you hear?
Summarize the disagreements?
Oh, yes. The parties are not in agreement as to geographic, whether there's going to be restrictions or not. The parties are not in agreement as to the child support. The parties are not in agreement as to the retro. The parties are not in agreement as to the communication between the parties, what type of communication. And that's the extent of the non-agreements here.
I have a question before you call witnesses. You're pleading number 6 asks about determination of disclosure of address. That's neither an agreement nor a disagreement.
That's an agreement, Your Honor, but I was going to elicit testimony as to that.
What is the agreement?
That she has no safety concerns, mom has no safety concerns, and does not want a non-disclosure.
Okay.
So,
okay, call witnesses.
Ms. Jackson, can you state your name for the record?
Sierra Lynn Jackson.
Ms. Jackson, did you hear and understand the agreements I read into the record, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
And are you in agreement as to all those?
Yes.
Okay. State calls Mr. Galindo. Mr. Galindo, can you state your name for the record?
Jose Unzueta Galindo.
Mr. Galindo, did you hear and understand the agreements that I read into the record?
Not exactly.
So I'll reread them. So y'all are in agreement as to joint managing conservatorship. Y'all are in agreement as to possession access 50-50 visitation. Y'all are in agreement that mom will maintain the governmental health plan and you pay cash medical in the amount of $94 a month. Are you in agreement as to those agreements, sir?
Yes. I mean, I would have a question about the 50-50 split. I don't know if that would be affected by whether or not one of us has to pay child support. I was in the understanding that the person
well, child support is one of those things that's not in agreement. So I'm asking you, are you in agreement as to what I just read into the record as to the possession access being 50-50?
Well, that would depend on the child support amount, I guess.
Okay, so are you not in agreement as to the visitation?
So far, no.
Okay, so are you in agreement as to the joint managing conservatorship and then also to the health plan that I read into the record?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I call Miss Shanae Young Fleeton. Miss Fleeton, can you state your name for the record?
Tosionia Young Fleeton.
Miss Fleeton, who do you work for?
The Office of the Attorney General.
And Miss Fleeton, how long have you worked for the Office of the Attorney General?
17 years.
And ma'am, did you calculate and what do you do there? I'm sorry.
I'm a child support officer. I calculate child support, medical support, and dental support, and retroactive child support, medical support, and dental support.
And ma'am, did you calculate the support in this case?
Yes, I did.
And what are your findings on the child support?
Child support is a monthly gross income of $2,083, medical insurance of $94, for a net income of $1,743.02. There's one child before the court, and Mr. Galindo has one other child by court order. The net resources are $1,743.02. The adjusted percentage is 17.5% for a monthly child support amount of $305.
And ma'am, did you calculate the retro in this case as well?
Yes, I did.
And what were your findings for the retro back child support?
For the year 2024, for 3 months, gross $2,083, net $1,743.02 at 17.5%, at a total of $322 a month for 3 months, for a total of $966.
Okay. Your Honor, past witness.
Okay. Or would you, Ms. Jackson, do you have any questions for Ms. Young-Fleeton?
No, I don't.
And Mr. Galindo, do you have any questions for Ms. Young-Fleeton?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, okay. Be aware she's going to be released, so if you need to ask her questions at some point, you will have to call her as a witness. Okay, Ms. Young-Fleeton, thank you for testifying, and you may be excused.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Division, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, if I do that, I'd like to offer States Exhibit 1 and States Exhibit 2, and these documents are basically, it's based on Ms. Young-Fleeton's testimony.
What are the documents?
States Exhibit 1 is the child support calculation that Ms. Young-Fleeton testified to, and States Exhibit 2 is the retro that Ms. Young-Fleeton testified to.
Okay, Mr. Galindo and Ms. Jackson, do either of you have any objections to me admitting those documents as States Exhibit 1 and States Exhibit 2?
No, I don't.
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Mr. Galindo, I couldn't understand you.
Oh, I said no, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. States Exhibit 1 is admitted. And States Exhibit 2 is admitted.
Your Honor, I recall Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson, now you said that you were in agreement as to the possession access being 50-50, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you still asking for child support in this case?
Yes, for daycare.
Okay. And how much is your daycare cost?
So I pay around $820 a month since September of this year.
Okay. Now, when you communicate with the other party, how do you communicate?
We communicate through texting, calls, and then we have visited when we drop Ever off between the two of us. So in well,
Now, is that working well for you, that communication, using the phone, texting, and calling?
currently it is, but I was having issues communicating with Jose. He wouldn't respond. Before I did get the child support sent to him, he wouldn't respond to text when I was saying he needed to pick Ever up so I can go to work overnight at HEB. I would call, he wouldn't answer, so it was difficult for a bit.
Okay. And are you asking us for app close?
Yes, just because I'm concerned it will go back to that after we stop the meeting.
Okay. Now, ma'am, do you have any safety concerns?
No. If I were to go back to the past, it wasn't anything violence inflicted on myself or Ever. But I did have the concern raised in, I believe it was April 29th, when Jose keyed my car and then he went to my job to find a coworker that he was upset with.
And how long ago was that?
That was April 29th, 2024.
Okay. But as of today, you don't have any safety concerns?
No,
Okay, why is that?
I truly feel it's because I'm not with that coworker anymore. We stopped seeing each other May 10th, haven't spoken since. And then part of me also feels it's just because I asked for the court hearing that it's been more amicable.
Okay. So you believe that all that is behind you?
I am concerned that if I were to get in another relationship, it would become a bit hostile again.
Now, are you asking for no restrictions, ma'am, where you live with the child?
Can you define restrictions?
And where did she
Um,
live? Like what county?
Ma'am,
Galveston, I'm sorry,
where do you live, ma'am?
Galveston County?
Okay. And are you planning on moving anytime soon?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Would you be okay if your primary location would be Galveston and contiguous counties where that touch Galveston, where you could live in these areas like Harris County and Brazoria County?
I am open to that, but I am trying to think of ahead and not limit myself. The job I'm trying to get into is welding, and I do hear about leaving different to different states to pursue that job. So I'm trying to think ahead about not limiting my potential work opportunities when I do.
And that's the reason why you want no restrictions.
Yes.
Is she a welder yet?
No, ma'am. I'm still in school.
Are you going to school to be a welder, ma'am?
Yes.
How long does it take for you to finish the school for being a welder?
I should be out in December. December.
Okay. And so you're planning on applying to local areas and abroad?
My goal is to get into the plants to find a welding job, but I have heard that it's being a traveling welder. I'm just trying not to limit what is available. Because I'm just trying to find a job that can support me fully in rent and with Ever. And right now, that's not what I'm getting from HEB. So I'm just trying
Okay.
not
But
limit.
this is a new profession you're going into. You don't have any experience.
No, just the school I'm going to right now since September.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, you may call your next witness.
State calls Mr. Galindo. Mr. Galindo, what do you do for a living?
I work in home remodeling.
Okay. And what type of possession access are you asking for? Visitation.
Well, originally I mean, we didn't really have a set time. We didn't really have a set schedule. It was mostly accommodating to Sierra's schedule. So I was kind of just Sierra wasn't really able to take care of Ever for a majority of the time, so I was taking care of him, the days that she couldn't or whatever. I had him, and then whenever she had time she would have him, which it turned out to be about 4 days that I have him and 3 days that she has him.
Hmm.
And
Now-
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't mind. It was just the whole thing of child support. Whether
Okay.
I do have to pay, then I have to, work more hours because currently my job is being affected, having to take Ever to daycare and having to be back home early since construction is usually a lot of hours. But I'm cutting my hours short to fit that schedule. So I don't mind the way to.
Now she's asking for 50-50 possession. Are you asking for the same thing?
What does that mean, Mr. Dehemasian? Do the parties know what it means?
Now, I can clean that up.
Okay.
So Are you asking that she have the child for a week and you have the child for a week? What does 50-50 possession mean to you?
To me, it would mean, you know, either I have them 4 days 1 week, she can have them 3 days, and then we switch around to 3 days, 4 days. That would be more like a 50-50 to me, to where we both have them, I guess, an equal amount of time. A week and a week would probably seem a little too long without seeing my son, so I would prefer, you know, just equal days, either 4-3 and 3-4, or something like that. I wasn't understanding the 50-50 either, just because again, we didn't really have any set schedule. It changes as Sierra's schedule changes.
Well, let me ask you this. What are y'all doing now?
Right now we are doing right now we're doing, I have them 4 days and she has them 3 days every week.
Okay. When you say you have them for 4 days, which days do you have the children? I mean, the child.
It would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
And when does she have the child?
The days in between, which would be Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not completely, it's not since the morning. You know, because again, Sunday she has to sleep late, so I usually give them back till afternoon. And some days she picks them up from daycare and she has them for, you know, 2 hours or so, or 3 hours, and then I come back from work and then I get him and I keep him overnight. So it's a little mixed in, but it's mostly like a 4-day, 3-day thing.
Okay. Now, because of this visitation schedule that you guys are doing, um, um, do, do you believe that you don't want to pay child support?
No, I don't believe I should,
And why is that?
because I'm taking care of the stuff in my home while Ever is with me, and she takes care of the stuff in her house whenever she's with him. You know, she buys him whatever she needs for her house, and I buy him whatever I need over here: clothes, diapers, food, whatever. I don't ask her for anything, and I don't think she should be asking me for anything.
Now, you heard the testimony that Miss Fleeton gave for the retro, right?
Yes,
And the amount in retro is $966, correct?
yes, I believe
Now,
she said.
during the retro period, did you give her any monies for the support of the child?
No. So again, she told me, what was her name again? Sorry.
Miss Fleeton?
Yes, yes. So she just told me that that was whatever number she threw. She said that that was just for court purposes, but it was very unclear as to. I mean, she didn't necessarily say that I had to pay it. She just said if I were to owe child support, then that's what that would be. But that was just an estimate of, you know, it was very random without really establishing whether or not I should be paying or I shouldn't be paying. Just again because I mean I've been taking care of everything, all the expenses on my end, and I believe the main disagreement was childcare, and I was actually paying the childcare for, I want to say like 10 months, like 10 months to a year. I was paying the childcare on my own. I never asked her for anything, so I don't see why now that she changed them to to an actual daycare. I don't see why would I have to be paying any of that. If anything, we're not even equal yet. I was actually paying more than she has.
When
I've
you
had
said
him
you were
more time, and I was paying more.
when you said you were paying for childcare, what childcare were you paying for? Daycare, you mean?
Yeah, well, so we had an agreement to we basically found out what the daycares were charging, and they were all around the same 800 to 1,000 price. So we just offered that money to my mother, Ever's grandma, and she was taking care of him for a whole year since me and Sierra broke up. She was taking care of him, and I was paying, I was paying that, and I was paying whatever bills needed to be paid so that Sierra could get up on her feet, and she was pursuing being a realtor at that time. So I was paying, all the bills and everything so that she can go ahead and pursue that career. And then after we had that disagreement with her starting to date again, then that's when I told her that she was gonna have to leave. Plus, she was already getting an apartment by that time. But that's when I told her that she had to leave. But I was supporting her for I want to say for like 5 months, maybe even more.
What period were you supporting her? Those
From
5 months?
from August of 2023 to like April of 2024. So that's about 6, 7, 8, like 8 months probably that I was supporting her so that she could pursue her career. And I was, taking care of the daycare that we were paying for forever, which was again at my mom's at that time. And then after April of 2024, that's when she left to her apartment, and I continued to pay I continue to pay my mom. I have check stubs for most of it. I continued to pay her for about 5 more months until August of 2024, which is when she moved on to daycare that was closer to her house.
Okay, so if you were gonna put a dollar amount, how much money did you give her during this time?
Gave who?
Or how much money if you were gonna put a dollar amount, how much would all this be, all these bills you're paying?
I mean, just by the time that she left in April, in childcare, I paid about 5,600, and then that's not counting March, February, and the previous year. So I mean, we're probably looking around, like probably 10,000 in daycare, in childcare, and then I guess all the bills and that doesn't really count since she was living with me still at that time. But I was paying for everything.
What were the months that she was living with you under your household?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What were the months that she was living with under your household? You all were living under the same roof.
She was living with me all the way until April 2024. We've been together for, probably 6 years around that, and we ended our relationship around August of 2023, and she lived with me all the way through April of 2024 while she pursued her career and kind of got back on her feet.
Okay. Now, this childcare you're talking about, is this when the child was being taken care of by your mom?
Yes.
Okay, and you were paying your mom childcare?
Yes.
Okay.
Originally, we had agreed not to take them to a daycare because we didn't like the way, the attention time they were given the kids when she went to go see it, and I never liked daycare, so we agreed to offer that amount to my mother so that she can take care of Ever for us.
Okay. So, do you want do you want, restrictions as to the geographic, sir?
Yes, I don't want my son to leave, you
This
know,
area?
yeah, exactly, somewhere around this area.
Okay.
And sir, what county do you live in?
Galveston County as well.
And, sir, how do you communicate with, Ms. Sierra?
Well, so far we've been communicating in person, text, call. I see her pretty much every day right now. Whenever I'm not whenever she has ever, I'll go over to their house and spend time with them, or when I'm over here at my house with Ever, then she'll come over sometimes, and we're pretty much having pretty good communication to
And-
this point.
So you don't feel like app close is necessary?
I don't feel like it's necessary.
Okay.
I know she expressed concerns about a period of time that I got I guess whether justified or unjustified, angry, and I did bother her at that time, but it was a very short-lived period, and after that I pretty much just ignored her, and we were without communication for a while. We just texted about our son, and then after that, again, we started communicating again.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, I wanted to recall Ms. Sierra.
You may do so.
Ms. Sierra, now, you heard, Mr. Galindo testify as to he gets the child on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and you have the child on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Is that correct, ma'am?
So
Yeah,
what would this be on Monday, Wednesday, Wednesday?
so I can elaborate on that. So I work overnights HEB. So tonight I'm gonna go in, usually it's 9:30 to 6:30 a.m. Those days that I get off, Jose will drop Ever off at daycare. Daycare is 5 minutes away from where we both live. I'll sleep till 11:40, and then I go to welding 12 to 3 each day, Monday through Friday. I have Tuesday nights off, so I'll keep Ever Tuesday nights. Wednesdays I drop him off at daycare. Wednesday nights Jose has him, and then Thursday nights I'm off, so I'll keep Ever again. But I would like to state that I am the one picking Ever up every day from daycare, giving him his bath, and feeding him dinner. I feel like the default on that. And then Jose does keep Ever Saturdays, and they typically spend the day with Ever's older brother, his half brother. And then Sundays, I fluctuate on Sundays because sometimes I'm just tired and I want to sleep in when I don't work or go to real estate. But some days I'll try to stay up the whole day and keep Ever. And that is typically the routine.
Now, do you want to keep the routine like this, ma'am?
I think for the sake of how it's going, yes, I do appreciate Jose watching Ever those nights and when he drops him off. So I do think that would be better than 50-50, just because that's what works.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. The state doesn't represent either of you. I'm going to give you both a chance to let me know anything else you think I need to hear.
No, ma'am.
I would like to add one thing.
Okay.
So the reason I asked and I did want to discuss it with Jose, but that was during the time we weren't communicating very well. I told him I did want to switch to a daycare that was closer to us because I was the one from the get-go when I was working real estate during the day and then working HEB at night. I was driving halfway to drop Ever off at Isabella's. And then I would go back at 4:30, which is in Gulf Gate where she lives. So it's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back every day. So it was really tedious. And so that was why I wanted to switch Ever to a daycare that was closer to both of us. Not that I don't appreciate him being with his grandma, but for my time's sake, I am trying to become more stable. And I just needed as much time as I could, not driving, but having Ever where he was closer to me and my job and my school for the sake of what was convenient for me time-wise. And I believe that's it.
And Mr. Galindo, what are you asking for visitation? And I just want to make sure I'm hearing this correctly. In December, at some point, you're graduating next month?
Yes.
So your schedule will completely change once you graduate?
I believe so. And that is what concerns me, that, you know, it is a job where, in a typical relationship, like as the mom, I'm going to be working full time, and the same thing for Jose, like he needs to work full time. But that's if I do manage to get into the plants, which are normally 10-hour, 14-hour days, 7 days a week. So I know it's very uncertain, but I can't sustain myself financially with just the job I have. Like I didn't have something waiting. I was a stay-at-home mom when I was with Jose, and I had to pick up and find something, and real estate didn't work. And so I was trying to make some money to go off and be on my own.
Mr. De Hemesha, are you at all prepared to draft? And I'm not even sure exactly what they're asking for. I think it's like a 3443 visitation schedule. But I'm not even sure that's what they're asking for.
Yeah, this is gonna be highly modified. I would ask for an entry date.
I'm not sure what I'm drafting yet. I'm not even sure what they're asking for exactly. It's not clear to me they have a specific, it sounds like sometimes it's set and sometimes it's not. And so it's very hard for a court to craft schedules, especially when people don't have proposals that accommodate these unique circumstances. It's hard to make them enforceable for everybody.
And I understand that. I'm sorry to, can I?
You may speak. And I'm saying this also knowing that in December, I'm thinking of a temporary order, because I honestly think in a few months, you're not going to want this crazy schedule that we might spend an hour drafting. Well, probably more than an hour drafting, but maybe another hour talking about today. Just to nail down every start, stop, and switch. So anyway, yes, given all that, yeah, please, you may speak.
So the biggest thing I wish is just if Jose can pay even just half on daycare for a daycare that's more convenient for me than driving 30 minutes out. I would really appreciate that. Visitation wise, I feel it's not necessary to draft something. My biggest concern, I guess, is if I didn't go through the courts, it'll just go back to where Jose is not wanting to communicate, and it'll impact how it did previously, where I thought I'd have to call out of work because he wasn't responding to me, and I had Ever, and I'm like, I need to work overnight. That's the job that I have right now. So if he could just pay half on daycare or full on daycare, that'd be great.
And I guess if I could also add something.
You may, sir.
Okay, so I guess my biggest concern at the beginning was that she was very unstable as far as what she was wanting And again, I was just kind of having to step up and you know, be with my son whenever she couldn't be with him. And that schedule kept changing. At first, again, she started wanting to be a realtor, then she wanted to be a police officer, then she wants to be a welder. You know, she wants to work at night when it's very, very inconvenient for the child and for everyone around her. It's very inconvenient. The schedules kept changing, so at some point I had to put a stop to it, and that's why I refused the change to a daycare, because it was just more of me having to accommodate to her schedule every single time. You know, every schedule keeps changing, and like you mentioned, it's probably gonna change again. So everything is very unstable. I'm trying to keep. I want to have a schedule, because in my work, I need to know what I'm gonna do next. Everything has to be planned out. So it was really affecting me that in that way, and that's when I had to draw the line. And I told her, if you want to change him to daycare, that's on you, you know. But I wasn't gonna pay for that. And even if, and it's not just about me being angry and not wanting to pay it. It was one, I was already paying it, and she couldn't even, you know, just do the drive to pick him up where her son was very comfortable, and he was, you know, being treated very well over there. So it's just all these changes and all these unknowns, and I don't even know again why are we here in, you know, having this court session when there's really there's nothing that we're asking for. I wasn't asking for anything. Again, I was just trying to step up and just trying to help out and do as much as I can. But as the schedule keeps changing, it also leaves me very uncertain as to, you know, what's next, or why am I being pushed around, you know, to pay and pay, and there's just nothing. Like you're saying, I'm at a loss too. I'm at a loss as to what are we supposed to be doing, and what are we going to do next. What are we going to do if she gets another job and she wants to move out of state? You know, everything changes. So I mean, either me paying child support or her paying child support, whoever's going to receive child support then should probably get primary custody of the child. And then that would be, again, whether the other non-custodial parent gets them only on the weekends, and the custodial parent could have them on Monday through Friday, so that he can have a clear schedule in his daycare and in his daily life. I would say that's more convenient if that's the route that she's wanting to take it with the child support. But again, if we're just doing 50-50 and we're both helping each other out, then I don't see why bring the courts into this. Just because, again, we're just trying to do what we can. So if I, you know, if I am ordered to pay child support, then I guess she can be the custodial parent, and I'll just have to focus on working more, and, you know, I'll have to only see my son on weekends.
I guess I don't understand. If you were able to work and pay your mother $1,000 and have this schedule, why aren't you able to work, have this schedule, and pay $305? Or whatever the child support number was. I think it was $305.
It is.
Well, I mean, it's not a matter of me being able. It's just a matter of whether I should be paying anything. I mean, if we're doing 50-50 and I'm paying and I'm taking care of everything
Let me
on my
just
end.
stop you. 50-50 doesn't automatically mean no child support. There's no set way to handle 50-50. Sometimes there's an offset. Ideally, I would look at the different expenses everybody has. All I've heard about is daycare, so that's really all I can look at right now. There's lots of different, some people automatically do zero, but there's no set has to be zero. And so ideally we could get that. Again, I'm kind of leaning towards a temporary order in this case, because I think a lot's about to change in the next few months. And if you have this very fine-tuned final order, you're all going to want to modify it within a year for sure, because it's not going to work when she's no longer doing all this.
Exactly. So again, I mean, I don't know what you would suggest for us to do, but it wasn't me saying that I cannot do something. It's just whether I should be doing it or not, because I feel like I'm doing a lot, and I've been doing a lot since we ended our relationship.
Okay, so I think at one point I'd asked, but I didn't get a clear answer. He has Monday, Wednesday, and what day?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. She has Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
I'm going to order a temporary order. I'm going to order joint managing conservators, with Ms. Jackson having the right to determine the primary residence within Galveston and contiguous counties. I'm going to order visitation. The first part of it will be the standard as mutually agreed. So if you all work something out, by all means do it. It sounds like you both have a lot going on. You're both very involved parents, you're both working, you have family in town. I'm not sure if Ms. Jackson does. So either one of you for any reason might need to change this. So the first part of this is as mutually agreed to. Failing mutual agreement, Ms. Jackson is working overnights still. Mr. Galindo will have the right to possession. And I don't know how you're going to draft this because no one really testified to times or exchanges, Mr. Dehumation. I just don't have enough information to give a good order. But he would have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And she would have Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And we'll get back to this in a moment because I think it needs to be fleshed out more. If Ms. Jackson is not working overnights, Mr. Galindo will have a standard possession order, the expanded within 50 miles standard possession order. So, sir, what time do you usually pick up? And none of these are contiguous, so it's very disjointed for the child. But again, hopefully this is why it's temporary. I don't like this long term for anybody. Mr. Galindo, what time do you typically pick up on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays? I guess do you just
It varies just depending on my schedule. Sometimes I get out of work very late, and sometimes I don't work at all. So sometimes I can pick them up from daycare. Sometimes I can pick them up till 8 p.m. So it varies a lot. I don't have a clear schedule either.
Mr. Van Booven, do you have a proposal for how you want to draft this?
I'd have to ask a few more questions, Your Honor.
You may do that.
Ms. Sierra,
Yes.
what is an average time for that dad picks up the child on Mondays? Do you know?
Typically, he gets here at 7:30.
And that's an average?
Yes.
And when does he pick up the child on Wednesdays?
I would say 7:30 for all the days.
All the days, Friday and Saturday?
Fridays and Saturdays, yes. Yes.
Now, what about Sunday?
So for Sundays, I get off of work at either 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. and Jose will drop Ever off around noon so he can take his nap with me. But I try to work it to where if I'm not tired, I try to pick him up at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. when he wakes up.
So you pick up the child between 8 to 9 on Sunday morning?
I try to, but I do let Jose know. I ask if he can watch him till noon if I'm too tired and need to sleep till then.
Okay. Mr. Galindo, are these times are average times? Would you agree these are average pickup times by you?
I would say we can go with that. Again, it's very uncertain. But we can use that 7 p.m. as an average time that I pick them up.
7
Except
p.m.?
on yes, 7 p.m. Fridays, for the most part, the way it works on the weekend is I get him on Friday night. He stays with me Friday night, and then he stays with me all Saturday. I don't pick him up. He stays with me from Friday keep them all Saturday, and then keep them, Sunday all the way till noon. That's the normal thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for
It
all of
might
Friday,
vary.
all of Saturday, and then mom picks up at noon.
Friday night. She has him, she picks him up from daycare Friday, and then she has him until I get out of work, and then I pick him up and I keep him all the way to Sunday noon or a little afternoon, whichever.
Okay, so when do you pick up, when do you get the child on Friday?
Friday around 7 or
7,
8.
okay.
Yeah, 7 or
7.
8, depending.
So would you agree that we do pick up by you on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7, and then mom picks up the child Sunday at noon?
He
Yes.
returns to mom.
And Miss Jackson, would you agree with these times as well?
Yes, I do.
So, Your Honor, I believe that they've come to an agreement as to the times and pickups.
Just so I'm understanding, I'm gonna order, at all times mutually agreed, failing mutual agreement if Ms. Jackson's working overnights. Mr. Galindo has the child from 7 p.m. Monday to daycare, returning to daycare on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Wednesday, returning to daycare Thursday morning, and then Friday at 7 p.m., returning to Miss Jackson's house Sunday at noon.
Yes.
believe-
Okay.
believe
And
that's correct.
Failing, if Miss Jackson is no longer working overnights, standard possession order. Expanded within 50 miles. Okay, so that's visitation. I'm ordering that Mr. Galindo pay Ms. Jackson child support of $305 a month beginning December 1st of 2024. I'm ordering that Ms. Jackson continue with the government medical program, and ordering that Mr. Galindo pay her $94 each month beginning December 1st, 2024 in cash medical support. I'm ordering no retroactive child support. I'm denying the non-disclosure request. And I'm ordering app close for communication. And again, this is a temporary order, so we can see, this gives you a chance to try it out. If you both hate it, you can come back and let me know that. And if not, you know, we can kind of see how it's going. It's not that different than texting, but you both might like it, you both might not like it. I've never used it, so I don't know the good and the bad.
Okay.
Hopefully you can, most apps let you sign up so you get pop-ups, so it'll be kind of similar to text where you'll get to see them. I'm always afraid, are people going to see these things? And if you're driving and running late, like, can you really communicate as well as you can texting? But you'll see how it works. And it sounds like you all don't drive that far to each other. So hopefully that will work for you. And then let's see, let's definitely come back after the new year, because by then she'll have graduated and maybe even found a job. And
Your Honor, January is pretty full.
okay, well, it doesn't have to be January. I just want to make sure they have some time to. And the order does say if she stops working nights at HEB, they move to the standard possession order. So there's lots of safeguards in here that if it does go a while, that's okay.
You're right.
I think the more time they have to settle down, the better this order will be long-term for them.
If I may speak, everything changed already. I wasn't agreeing to pay child support, and
I
the
understand
thing
that, but I
was,
heard evidence, sir, and I made a ruling, and it's a temporary order, and we'll go from there.
Your Honor, I've got
Right.
February 24 at 8:30.
Okay, let's, final trial will be February 24th. 2025 at 8:30 a.m. It'll be the same Zoom code. Okay, the Attorney General's office is going to draft the order based on my ruling today. Are you wanting an entry for this, Mr. Damasian?
Yeah, Your Honor, please. Let's see, how about by November 13 entry?
That is fine. So he's going to draft the order and circulate it to all of you to review and sign off on. If you sign off ahead of time, you don't have to come to entry. If you dispute the drafting, not the contents, but if you don't believe the drafting matches the ruling, that's when you'll come and you'll argue what language you think is incorrect and what you think it should be.
Okay.
And so that entry again, I'm sorry, it's November, what date was that?
November 13,
13th, okay, at 8:30.
8:30.
And so you were all
So
free to
can I-
go for today.
can I-
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm like, can I still object, or do I have to get another court case for that?
As I said in the beginning, I'm an associate judge. You do have a right to a de novo hearing before the referring court. But I have made my ruling today.
How do I go about setting up another court case?
Mr. Damation, I believe you have a piece of paper you can send him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Do you want him back in the breakout room so you could talk to him?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording.